Let's go get this thing started, man. Please. This is where this is where James Ross is calling Devon Hughes a pathological liar. Yeah. When Devon is lying, yeah. Yeah, JR can smell one. See, when that fucking people send me text messages, I don't even know who these people are. This here is a New Year's Eve special. It's a little different from the Just Another series. Let's start with Mr. Dietrich Davis. He will bring the good old boy to the congregation. Speak up, Dietrich. Yuck it up, Dietrich. Go for it, bro.
New wrestling. Dietrich Davis here. Ladies and gentlemen of the congregation, thank YouTube for the delay of this video. Thank them. I apologize that your Sunday service did not come at a prompt time, but YouTube likes to play very strategic games.
That's what they want to do.
Words that you use very specifically. So today, I will
That's what they wanted to do,
the
man.
rules of YouTube, but from the rest of 2025, which there are just days to.
2026 is over almost.
We break every framework and rule there is.
Yeah.
Now allow me to talk to you about the topic at hand, my people of the New Wrestling World Order congregation, the last Sunday service of 2020.
The Bluetooth device is ready to pair.
Specifically, we should
Radio mode, auxiliary input mode.
good old JR is evolved. If you don't know,
I forgot to turn on the shit, man.
talking about, if you don't know who JR
I forgot to
is,
turn it on, man. My bad, man.
Jim Ross.
I forgot to turn that shit on.
And ladies and gentlemen of the congregation,
I really forgot about it. I'm sorry.
once again, without failure, without hesitation, what we got here is a failure to communicate.
That's right.
This is what we got here is a failure to acknowledge reality. Today's service, ladies and gentlemen, as I'm back in the home studio, has everything to do with reality,
Yeah.
perception,
Yeah.
and identity, and self-acknowledgement.
Yeah.
Jim Ross recently finally spoke on Christmas Day via Conrad Thompson's YouTube channels.
Yeah.
He proudly and greatly spoke about Devon Dudley.
Yeah. What about
Jim
him?
Ross and Conrad Thompson manufactured a question to be asked so that they can read. And he read the man's name, which was clearly a joke with the last name Dudley. And he read a question that asks, is there anything Jim Ross would like to get off his chest?
What do you say about
for the
Devon?
year of our Lord 2025? At that moment, I understood that that question was manufactured. I understood that they were setting something up. And they're finally, allegedly, two things here, are going to get to the bottom of something that has been in the barrels of good old JR's stomach.
Oh, well.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, not something I'm making up. Hard realities in the barrels of the stomach of good old JR. While he was allegedly battling cancer and sick in the hospital, the IWC and the world had presented atrocities onto him. Ladies and gentlemen, part ways and allow Jim Ross to bring that eye of his and that slur of his and that Bell's palsy and that cancer. Bring it all down to the front of the congregation. Part ways, ladies and gentlemen. We need JR to get down nice and comfortably. Do not touch them. You don't want anything or any illness that he has to rub off on you. Ladies and gentlemen, let it happen. Let him come down. Come on, JR. Take your time. Oh, comrade, waddle your ass down here, too. Hold on, Thompson. Comrade. We don't want you who's protecting the identity of racism.
Come on, Comrade Thompson, you fucking
moron.
mark.
You not to get no work, so you come on down to the front of this congregation, too.
Yes.
See, because you platformed the ability for this old white cracker-ass cracker to be able to hide his racism and as if he doesn't have any at all. Ladies and gentlemen, a few weeks ago, Maven, Bubba Ray Dudley, and Devon Dudley sat in front of the world and they talked about racism in their beginning of their career in the WWE.
They talked about it.
Devon Dudley said extremely clearly that I did not experience racism when me and Bubba came together in ECW. But the first day I walked through the doors of WWE, there was a problem.
Yeah, man.
And they called a 10-gallon hat wearer. When Maven said, "Go Sooners," allegedly said to Devon Dudley,
that was JR's team.
"I don't like the color of your skin." Let me repeat those words. Allegedly, good old JR, Jim Ross, walked up to the black man known as Devon Dudley.
Let me say it to him.
Said to him, "I don't like the color of your skin."
JR hates him.
Devon Dudley then doubles down. Devon knew who he was talking about. Maven knew who he was talking about. But then Devon Dudley doubles down. And he goes over to Duke Loves Wrestling channel, where him and Devon once a week pump out some content over there.
Yeah.
And Devon said, "I was never going to out the name of the man who I was talking about. I didn't have to say it. Maven let the cat out of the bag."
He did.
And at this moment in time, I'm not quoting him exactly.
He let out the bag. Shit.
I'm paraphrasing. But at this moment in time, I'm going to say the name. This is the words of Devon Dudley as I paraphrase. And he says, Jim Ross walked up to him and said, "I don't like the color of your skin." He might as well have just called Devon a nigger right then and there.
Couldn't even say it.
Devon Dudley says, "I know that good old JR, Jim Ross, is going to deny this." With impunity, Jim Ross did do that. He said, but there was witnesses. Paul Heyman, Spike Dudley, Bubba Ray, Tommy Dreamer.
Those ECW legends.
These men were standing there.
Yeah, the ECW legends.
The former owner of ECW, an announcer. And it's funny. I really do believe that Jim Ross is an unapologetic racist. Because there was a time, and I want you guys to hear me loud and hear me clear. There was a moment in time when Jim Ross wasn't sitting against Memphis's own child predator, sexual assaulter, allegedly, Memphis' own Jerry the King Lawler. Let's not forget the two little girls he sexually assaulted down in Memphis.
Yeah.
Oh, let's talk about that when the time is right. Look up your history. There's police records and everything.
What was
about giving two little kids a phone call. A man we know only like him young. There was a time when Jerry
Or starting young.
wasn't a part of the WWE announce team. And Paul Heyman was right there. And we all know that Paul Heyman can work a microphone, but Jim Ross would not work with Paul Heyman. He would go flats on sayings, wouldn't acknowledge things. He acknowledged that he made a
But Ross
mistake.
worked with him in
and he gave
WCW.
Paul Heyman a hard time and did not want to work with him. To you people of the world of sports entertainment, the fans of professional wrestling, do you know why he didn't want to work with good old Paul Heyman?
No.
I'll tell you why.
Why?
Because Paul Heyman was Jewish.
Yeah.
And the one thing white supremacists
People used to
do
name
not
why.
like are when Jews are a part of the building. A lot of people aren't fans of Jewish people, but Jim Ross made it his business to make it bad business between him and Paul Heyman because he wanted the sexual assaulter, child predator, Jerry the King Lawler to sit back by his side so it could be on the good old Suffering Boys, controlling the sound and tone of professional wrestling as you've heard it.
Yeah.
That's also an act of racism if you think.
Yeah, that's
Now,
why.
I'm making an assumption that's what he did. But it's no mistake that he was capable in front of Bubba Ray, in front of Spike Dudley, in front of Paul Heyman, in front of Tommy Dreamer, to walk up to the only black man standing there and say, I don't like you because of your skin color, nigger. I'm adding that. But I'm pretty sure he said it in his head. Jim Ross goes on to say that basically Devon Dudley is a fucking liar. He clearly says that he did not say that, and he denies it. Jerry King Lawler would be laughing in the middle of his strokes right now. Because we all know Jim Ross said. We all know that this was done. Why would Bubba Ray co-sign that he was like that? Why would Maven immediately grab the 10-gallon hat and pull the magical old cat called Jim Ross right out of it and dump it in front of the streets of the IWC all over the YouTube streets? That is no mistake. Bubba Ray, go back and watch that 3-minute interview. Bubba Ray was saying, say the name. And then 2 weeks later,
he begged for it anyway.
But Devon Dudley goes on Duke Loves Wrestling and immediately says it was Jim Ross. No hesitation, no innuendos, no subliminal shots, direct center mass to the chest of the business of professional wrestling. It was good old JR, Jim Ross, who walked up to me and said, I don't like you because of the color of your skin.
JR felt hurt. JR must have knew that he hurt Devon's feelings. Devon felt hurt.
Professional wrestling. Is it because Devon has a white wife? Is it because of what New Jack once said? Devon is a white man in a black man's body. Did he feel comfortable saying that did Jim Ross feel comfortable saying that to Devon Dudley? Because all of the white boys were standing right there. Your Jewish people are white too when it comes to Paul Heyman. That all of the white boys are there, and he knew that those white boys were not going to defend a nigger and pull him aside. That's why he said he had to tolerate it. Because he had to take care of his kids, because he had a wife and children, and so on and so on. And that conversation I'm about to have about Devon Dudley will be talked about on another day, because I'm tired of niggas protecting racism because they want to keep their job. Instead of changing the job environment, most niggas just go along to get along. Like a Booker T and a Mark Henry. Ace Boone Coons of the business of professional fucking wrestling.
Yeah.
Oh yes, ladies and gentlemen. Oh yes. It makes me think Devon Dudley was trying to be an agent over at AEW, or it was thought about, but it was said
They gave him a
very
job.
clearly by Devon Dudley that Tony Khan started giving him a hard problem.
They gave him
I
a
don't
job.
think Tony Khan is racist at all. But what if
He racist.
Jim
He's
Ross
dead in the
over there
company.
at AEW was making it very hard for Devon to get the job over at AEW? What if it was subliminal forms of communication from Jim Ross to our young man over there at AEW, Tony Khan, being told he's not a good worker, he's this, he's that, watch out for him, his black ass probably sleeping right now on the job. When there's 10, 12 hours going around and Tony Khan walks up to Devon Dudley and gets upset at him because he was asleep, when there's nothing for him to do. Try to get him to do those tag matches again. Maybe Tony Khan wanted to recreate the TLC matches. He'll probably say, no, get him to do that. If he don't give you what you need, don't do no business with him. But he was doing it to get his children in the business, Devon Dudley said. But what if, I didn't say Jim Ross said that, I'm saying, what if Jim Ross influenced Tony Khan's decision? Where we're doing business with Bubba Ray Dudley couldn't do nothing. Maybe he's always found a way to always make sure a nigga can't prevail. And don't bring me The Rock. That is Vince McMahon's decision. Don't bring me Bobby Lashley.
Oh.
Bobby Lashley wasn't hired by good old JR. That was a John Laurinaitis hire.
Yeah. Ace hire.
These are things we have to look at. Maybe he's so comfortable with sitting next to Excalibur over on AEW television for all of the sickos to sit there and goon off to these motherfuckers because it was easy to sit next to the dude who paraded racism all through his company, as I put on this screen in camera on these pre-recorded videos. Pardon me, I'm not pulling no punches on the realities that's going down in the business of professional wrestling. Fuck that part of me.
No.
It's time we bulldoze the reality of who all the racist epithets are running around the business of professional wrestling. Was it not Jim Ross that wouldn't hire a female wrestler, as has been documented, because that white bitch had a black man, had a little mandingo running around her throat and her vagina and her anal cavity?
What the fuck was she? What the fuck was he want her there?
Duke Loves Wrestling said to this young woman who had the emails from 20 years ago, who had the messages from 20 years ago, who had the proof in black and white about good old JR, that he said, let me know, and basically get rid of that nigger, that black boyfriend you have, and I'll let you come into the WWE. Allegedly, that woman is still sitting on all of those emails. And the beautiful thing about the internet, it is the greatest digital carbon blueprint of all time. Jim Ross clearly has a problem with us black people, with the skin of gold.
He's one of
the original pharaoh.
Jim Ross is worse than Jim Cornette. That's how he is.
Gods of Egypt, the kings of Africa, known and unknown. He has a problem with us, ladies and gentlemen.
He's worse than Cornette.
He has a great problem with us.
Ross is worse than Cornette, dude.
All Devon Dudley and Laban did was expose it. We need to know the reality of these people. Why should he even be working for AEW if he don't like a specific culture and a business that's based around all cultures? Must be the way they do business down in Oklahoma, I assume.
Probably Oklahoma City.
It gets me to thinking, ladies.
Jim Ross from Tulsa.
Jim Ross then begins to say, well, I never had a problem with the African American.
What?
You know, I've hired African American talent. You know, I did some homework on all of the African American talent you've ever hired in WWE, good old JR, or in the business of professional wrestling. Shelton Benjamin.
Yeah.
You only co-signed good old, what's his name? JYD, while you were standing beside your mentor, who is known to be one of the greatest racist bookers in professional wrestling history, while in the same breath that your other idol outside of your mentor, Bill Watts, was a gunslinging, cowboy movie making racist who didn't believe niggers, or aka what we like to call black men, but we're gonna say it the way they say it.
Yeah.
They keep their teeth white, but they didn't want no niggers running around his sets, and that a black man had no place in Hollywood. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, take your time and think. Who said that? Who's one of the greatest cowboys alleged to white America?
Who's that?
John fucking Wayne.
That racist fuck?
So John Wayne's your idol, and Bill Watts is your mentor, who was known that ran junkyard dog, quit working over there and ran up over here to New York City because Bill Watts called him a nigger numerous amounts of times, and he heard it while he was taking a shit in a bathroom.
John Wayne is fucking dead now.
The realities that unfold as men become older, truths that they cannot deny, plausible deniability, rolling consistently on and on and on and on, to the point, ladies and gentlemen, of this congregation. And if you're just coming into the doors of the church of the NWWO, always remember, it's $5 at the door and a 2-drink minimum. We get right up in here. We always gonna spill the libations.
Shit.
But here's Jim Ross sitting there alongside fat-ass Conrad Thompson, just getting more cancer scraped out of his ass, smoking a fucking cigarette, sitting up there and saying, I don't know what he's saying. I can't believe this has basically been fabricated about me.
What?
Trying not to drool and smoke a cigarette at the same time. Aren't you the same guy, good old JR, that when your wife died,
That's Jan.
and that same woman who got those emails about you, all of a sudden,
Who's Jan?
she gives you a call out of respect to say, thank you for your condolences, and you start asking that young woman for some fucking pussy because you don't give a good goddamn. Your wife was in a mobile wheelchair, and you probably only married the woman who gave you the most pussy, like a lot of weak men in this world does. You couldn't wait for your wife to die, allegedly, Jim Ross, which means you ain't no different than Jerry the King Lawler. I bet you was knocking the bottom out or making a tip with some Bell's palsy dick and slobbering on their pussies with that Bell's palsy lip. Always looking for a little white girl or a little bit of smoke to get yourself some up. Allegedly. And this is the person whose commentary people sweats. This is the person that everybody thinks is the greatest commentator of all time. Nah, buddy. I can't put a peck of wood like you at the top of the mountain. Not when you like to disrespect women. Not when you don't give a fuck about your wife. Not when you disrespect black men. Not when you get mad because a white woman is getting herself some black BBC and you can't even handle and dish out a little LYC. Little white cocks, for those who don't know. You probably can't even eat a pussy properly with that girl draw of yours. But most racist individuals in this world, ladies and gentlemen, I can see this old bastard in front of us not admitting anything like that. Because in his eyes, in his world, he does not believe that he was being racist. In his eyes, in his train of thought, in his heart, he don't got a racist bone in his body, though he might have called you a nigger on a daily basis. Because to the racists of America, back then, today, now, and in the future, they don't see their racism as racism. And racism is as American as apple pie and baseball. They don't see it, ladies and gentlemen. They don't fabricate it like that. They don't process it or understand it like that. You know why? Because it's a part of their psychological genetic code to present themselves like that. They don't have the emotional fortitude to even begin to process what they're doing because they are the heroes of their own fucking story. How pathetic. How
Spit on
pathetic.
Spit on him.
How pathetic.
Spit on him.
And this is what we're supposed to be considered a staple of professional wrestling. This is who's talking over the commentary of our talent. Oh, I forgot.
Yeah.
You also only helped one other black man get into the business of professional wrestling, and that is Ernie Ladd. He was already in the business, but you gave him a cosign. Ernie Ladd became a booker, and you used Ernie Ladd
Big Cat himself.
to simply and easily learn how to deal with African American talents. As you
Big
said
Cat
yourself, Jim Ross, Ernie Ladd. I talked about Ernie Ladd for 30 minutes on this program.
Big Cat Ernie Ladd.
We know that you did, you cocksucker, because you and that fat bastard who collected, what's that man's name? Ric Flair's daughter like a championship belt because he's obsessed with Ric Flair, so he had to get himself a piece of something.
And what's yours?
Something organic that belonged to Ric Flair. He would swallow Ric Flair's cum and alcoholic backwash if he could just spit it out and put it on a fucking trophy piece. That's right, bro. That right there, that's Ric Flair's cum.
That could be his son-in-law. That could be his son-in-law for all I know.
You know, I did it the right way. I wanted to be pure.
And Ross is working with Thompson.
You and bred Ric Flair's family so you can hold on to a piece of wrestling. You are prophetic. But in that whole episode, you brought up black wrestling on purpose so you can lead JR into talking about Ernie Ladd. Ooh.
Why the Big Cat?
I see you, you fat white fuck. I cannot see you.
Big Cat. You talk about him?
Conrad Thompson was very slick.
Yeah, Ric Flair's son-in-law.
Now that's the call back to what we talked about in the beginning.
The guy Ric Flair's son. The guy Ric Flair's wife had married. Oh, not that's wife. The guy Ric Flair's daughter had married.
We have a question from such and so Dundee. And Jim Ross, because I don't know where this came from, or Devon, you know exactly where it came from.
Yes,
you said it, you Peckerwood. You said it, you old cracker. You said it, you nasty bastard. You said it, you pathetic, racist son of a bitch. Jim Ross, the greatest racist in professional wrestling, ladies and gentlemen.
Nobody likes JR that much.
You called Devon Dudley a liar. And sad old Devon over there forgiving your punk ass. Sad good old Devon over there being a good old boy. Maybe our good friend was always right about Devon Dudley. Maybe New Jack was 100% correct when Jerome said, Devon is a white man in a black man's body. Maybe you was like, how is he calling me a nigger when I'm one of you guys? Wake up call, Devon. You can breed any white woman you want. They will always be black, your children. You can breed the identity of who you are anytime you want. Nigga, when you look in the mirror, you are black. And I know you know you're black. But I think you thought that you was immune me to it. Racism is going to be around to the end of time. And for you to truly believe, because it's 1999 and 2000, that your skin color don't mean a goddamn. Look around the whole IWC, specifically the black culture of it. They want to see their own. They want to celebrate their own. They're wondering where we are at. And they're seeing the damage being done to us by our white, W-H-I-T-E, white, W-H-Y-T-E, for the Ebonics niggas out there, counterparts. And if Bubba Ray really fucked with you, why didn't he yank Jim Ross up? If Tommy Dreamer really fucked with you, why didn't he yank Jim Ross up? If Paul Heyman really fucked with you, why didn't he yank Paul Heyman up? And the only reason why Jim Ross signed Shelton Benjamin, because he wanted to get his best friend at the time. You guessed it, Brock Lesnar. The beast incarnate. At one time, the next big thing. He had to sign Shelton because he wanted that big old white dinosaur, that albino gorilla, Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
So he had to sign him.
Duke, Minnesota, Brock Lesnar.
Came with the other. They was in college together, dorm room together, wrestled together, trained together, went down to FCW together, went down to Ohio Valley under the learnings and teachings of the other madman, Jim Cornette. You had to sign him. Why? Because you had to get Brock.
Yeah,
You sound like one of those white motherfuckers who say, of course I got a black friend. I'm Timmy, the mailman. He stops by every day. I say hello. I take the mail, and he's a good old boy. Yeah. What? You're one of them fucking pecker bullets. You dirty ass cracker. Yeah. Conrad Thompson, protecting racism, protecting the identity of the card we can't escape in the business of professional wrestling, of white motherfuckers like Jim Ross, who talk and walk and act and think and present the way they do. I ask you, ladies and gentlemen of this congregation, at this moment in time, shouldn't we boycott Jim Ross out of the business? Jim Ross, let me tell you again, he then began to play. Oh, this is a race episode. And if your white ass is a mad, stay mad. If your black ass is a coonin', stay coonin'. Let me tell you the nastiness that Jim Ross, this old bastard, began to say in the midst of his show. Let me explain it to you in full detail, ladies and gentlemen. He said, maybe Devon is that jealous. Maybe Devon is jealous that Bubba Ray has gone on to be a phenomenal broadcaster. And has gone on to things. He helped book a lot of stuff in there. Stuff basically, Devon, a black man can't do. He didn't begin to put Devon up against Bubba Ray Dudley by saying you're just jealous that you couldn't accomplish what that white boy did, one of our own did, whether half Italian or not. Italian is white. Yeah. The Jewish is white. This, that, here was white. He made sure to throw that stinger in there, basically calling Devon Dudley a failure. But Devon Hart, this is the white man he forgives. Guess what? I don't believe in no goddamn God. And the world you walking, I's God, nigga. And I'm not a forgiving one. If you're a reader of your Bible, there's two gods in the Bible. The first testament is the bad motherfucker. The second testament is the forgiving one. You see, I's Old Testament. You know what I'm saying? I'm Old Testament. Yeah. When my name shows up, they go, that's Old Testament right there. That nigga will scorch earth. And yes, I will. Jim Ross, if I ever see you in person, I will make it my business to spit directly in your draw ass mouth.
Spit on.
I'll spit right in your fucking mouth so you can understand that no matter what, that my spit as a black man is more superior than your life as a white man. And if you ever in your life attempt to play that racist game anywhere I'm around or I hear that anyone is around, I'll make it my business to violate you in any way possible, because white motherfuckers like you should not be in an industry that is universally for everyone. And you, Conrad Thompson, motherfuck you too. Your Lord, wide, fat, well-walking ass co-signed everything he did. You know how them old good old boys get down in America. You know what it is. You know what it is. Or are you just so fucking gullible that you believe anything a white man say? And I peeped what you did too. You said me and my friend dressed up like the Dudley boys, and he was my boy Trey, the one black friend he got. He dressed up like the nigga. The other one dressed up like the cracker, and they were, like the wigger, and they ran around as wigger and nigger, the Devon boys, the Dudley boys. I caught what you did there. Me and my best friend Trey dressed up like the Dudley boys. You had no choice. Devon is the only fat bastard in professional wrestling you could replicate. Excuse me. Bubba Ray is the only fat bastard in professional wrestling you could replicate. What we just witnessed, ladies and gentlemen, was the protection and the stabilization of racism in professional wrestling. And Jim Ross would not outright and call Devon Dudley a liar. But the insinuation when you say, I never said that, and this, that, and the other. Why didn't Conrad Thompson get Devon Dudley on a video call and they have a three-way conversation? You know why? Because if Devon presented a good old Jim Ross with the truth and with evidence and with the parties that were involved, that old white man wouldn't know how to crawl himself out of that. Jim Ross, I need you to do yourself a favor. Go welcome yourself to the bosom of Abraham and get out of the business of professional wrestling, because you just taught me one other small important thing. That you said Ernie Ladd taught you how to deal with the African American. So you either just told us Ernie Ladd didn't like black men, did not like being black, and he taught you how to deal with niggas in case they show up to make himself feel superior amongst other black men, or you just sat there and learned what you believed was the truth of how all black men operated, based off of the words and truths and definitions of Ernie Ladd, and it taught you how to manipulate black men as they come into the business of professional wrestling. Miss me with that bullshit. Now get the fuck on out of my congregation. And you take that fucking waddling well, Conrad Thompson, with you. Go Sooners!
Shit. It's a good ass New Year's Eve special or what, huh? Sorry. But I tell you, I was rolling me up some blunts earlier. I used the scissors to cut the tips. So you people like this? You people like this video, man? Hit the like button below. Before you go ahead to drop a comment below. So it's not even bad to begin with. It's just a thing about the video. So They give a fuck about now about shit about what happened Saturday. So that's what I was allowed to do. Grab some content. I just grab some more content. That's what I do. So it's about Mr. James Ross. Mr. James Ross. You know what I'm saying? The good old boy out of Oklahoma. You know, he started exposing Devon and calling him out. You know what I mean? And he started calling Devon a liar. Devon Hughes. Everybody know him from the one half of the legendary tag team known as the Dudley Boys before they became Team 3D. That was in WWE and it was in WWE and TNA. So why would everybody speak on him? Like Tommy Dreamer, Paul Heyman, uh, who else? Uh, Bubba Ray Dudley, who happens to be Bully Ray. I mean, I seen him on previous episodes of NWA Power, reruns. They had their own little pay-per-views, like like Enough Said and shit. Like Enough Said. Enough Said is like it's like a show, a pay-per-view that nobody else can watch. See, they had newer pay-per-views that they wanted people to see and watch. Some people don't have no money to pay for a pay-per-view or a wrestling show. But back in the days, the 80s and 90s, some people, some people when they were young, they started ordering. They wanted to get their family members, like their grandparents, to order those pay-per-views just just for just for the younger kids to watch, especially the 10 or 11-year-olds. Like you want to order something from like the 1980s, like the WrestleMania 1, 2, 3, and 4. You know what I'm saying? Things of that nature. You know, 5 and 6. Well, especially the other pay-per-views that you can see is from like you got the WrestleManias from the 1990s. You have WrestleMania 7. You have WrestleMania 8, 9, 10. 11 and 12 and 13, 14. Then you have WrestleMania 2000. So you have WrestleMania uh 15 or 16, whatever. All the pay-per-views that the younger people you see back then wanted to watch on pay-per-view. Even though younger kids wanted to start watching uh the WWE Raw tapings was out like from like around 1993, 1994, 1995 when it first got aired on USA Network. They go to 1996, 1997, and then 1998 they go push Raw up there from like a 1 hour standpoint to a 2 hour standpoint. Even though, but look at National Wrestling Alliance before it became National Wrestling Alliance World Championship Wrestling. So the NWA has been around since the 1950s, maybe. I'll take you to. I'll just go on there and then tell you about National Wrestling Alliance for a minute. I'll show you. I'll tell you all what happened. See, National Wrestling Alliance has been around since 1948. Okay, NWA, National Wrestling Alliance, it was like an American professional wrestling promotion and a governing body owned by Billy Corgan and operated by its parent company, Lightning One Incorporated. The company was already been founded in 1948, so all the shit you see here, that was coming out around the NWA Power episodes will be coming from like January of this year all the way through like November of this year. All the other shit there was already from last year. See, that's where this is where WCW came. Where this is where WCW came throughout the history throughout 1988. It was uh it was NWA. It was NWA slash World Championship Wrestling at the time. So 85, 86, 87, 88. That's where it's formed. When it became WCW in 1988. But still, it's still under the National Wrestling Alliance banner. So, but until 1991, 1990, 1991, 1992, this is where this is where they have suspended themselves. This is where WCW has suspended themselves from the NWA. So that's how they backed out. So and then you have the lot of wrestling matches that you've seen from like 1992, 1993, 1994, 1995. This is like like it was like before Monday Night Nitro. You know what I'm saying? They have WCW Power, what used to be the old NWA Power, without the R's. Uh, used to have NWA Saturday Night Wrestling and NWA Worldwide Wrestling, which was incorporated and transformed into under the WCW name, WCW Power, WCW Pro, and then they have WCW Saturday Night Wrestling. Then WCW Worldwide Wrestling. That used to come on Saturday mornings. So that's the history of where it got it from. So and this is before WCW Nitro that comes on around September 4th, 1995, when it had a good history. And nobody else even had a chance to try it. See, then WCW Nitro has a run where you had all these matches. And then you have, then the start of the show, they have Ric Flair versus Sting. It's been dated back to 1985 when they had these matches. 86, 87, 88, 89, and 90. That's where gold goes in 1991. See, until 1990, here goes a man who used to be, you know, working, you know, under somebody else who had, I mean, the guy, I think his name was like so synonymous and has a mind for the business. His name was James Mark Cornett. In 1983, 1982, 1983, he came up as a rookie in National Wrestling Alliance. You know, that was by the time Ric Flair came through to wrestle those matches. I think he had a match against Dusty Rhodes and things like that. That's how Tony Schiavone, who had to be Noah Schiavone, had already mentioned about how he did the announce thing when Flair came. A young Richard Flair uh came in. This is after what happened with him in the 1970s where he survived the plane accident. But then you see something that happened, when the history goes on. The incident in Puerto Rico when Bruiser Brody was stabbed to death at some wrestling promotion. After he finished the match, he got stabbed to death by some guy who later got arrested by the Puerto Rican authorities or somebody like that. Some other probably authorities picked up the guy that stabbed Bruiser Brody to death. And Bruiser Brody, he's dead now. So he been dead since 1988. And then he leaves behind a family, his wife. So then what happened? Then 1986, he's managing a young Dennis Condrey and a young Bobby Eaton, who's rest in peace. They were known as the Midnight Express. Okay, the Midnight Express were a tag team. Then 87, 87, 88, and 89 and 90, uh, the Midnight Express were finished. They were so done until 1988 happened on the NWA Saturday Night show. Paul Heyman, Paul Heyman, who was Paul E. Dangerously. It was like because of it's all because of the late Rodney Dangerfield. Because all because of the late great Rodney Dangerfield. Heyman gets the name from Dangerfield. So we've been waiting for some sort of respect in the world of comedy. See, in 1988, 1988, 1987, 1988, James Ross came in to work with the booking committee of WCW, which used to be the NWA booking committee. So so he had him out there as a broadcast reporter. In 1989, he could have just been given a seat to go sit there and call matches. They could just give it to him. So in 1988 through 1989, they gave him they gave him a spot on the desk, by the announce desk, for him to call matches. So they brought in guys that was in there. So they gave him a commentating uh, guy who was they gave him a broadcast partner who had to be wrestling legend Virgil Runnels Jr., who was also known as the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. Everybody remember him in the '80s when he got into some trouble. You know, when he attacked the late great James Crockett Jr. during during a taping. So he got into a fight with the Four Horsemen. If it was if it was if it was few of the members of the Four Horsemen in this or that type of stuff, it got Rhodes suspended because of it. And then they have another part when they brought him out as the Midnight Rider. So look what happened to Rhodes in 1989. They have him calling matches for pay-per-views with Ross. But in '89, that's what WCW was around. So they could have a match that was with the Brian Pillman Lex Luger match that was for the United States Heavyweight title in the WCW. So they try to have Jim Ross. They try to have James Ross working with Paul E. Dangerously. By 1990, Jim Cornette, he's he wanted to be managing Eaton and Condrey because all three of those guys are already on their way out of the WCW door anyway. Until Cornette started a wrestling company that was already about to die in 1995. It was called Smoky Mountain Wrestling. Then he became a owner and a matchmaker. This was after Cornette and had left. But in 1988, Cornette and two other Midnight Express guys, they got beef with with Paul with Paul E. Dangerously. I think it was Buddy Rose and Dennis Condrey. The Midnight Express wannabes that were like accompanied by Dangerously. This is after Cornette had gotten on and off the phone with Dangerously, while Cornette is sitting right there, standing up there with Schiavone. Uh, then there's a brawl happening right in front of the face of Noah Tony Schiavone, and he stood back as the brawl happened. Cornette had on this white suit on, you know, dressed up, ready to manage. So Heyman, he hits he hits Cornette in the head with that brick telephone that he had, a Cola's brick telephone. He just whacked him right in the head with it. It caused Cornette to bleed from his forehead. And then Cornette's bleeding from his forehead, and all his blood got all over that white suit that he had on. This good white suit. And so Heyman and his guys, they got away from there. They got away scot free, like the thieves in the night. And Cornette was down on the floor, bleeding. from his head, and they're calling for the medics to rush Cornette to the hospital. See, 1991, all this stuff happened without Cornette, without Cornette and um and Eaton leaving to go to SMW. But later in 1992, another wrestling, another wrestling company or promotion uh, was born. It was NWA, Eastern Championship Wrestling. Let me go. Let me go Google ECW. See, then ECW was founded by Todd Gordon in early 1992 when it had all of the matches there. So they wanted to have the little story they have about ECW. See, that company was risen from the ashes of another wrestling promotion that was known as the Tri-State Wrestling Alliance that was used to be owned and run by a man named Joel Goodhart. Let me tell you about ECW. It was an American professional wrestling promotion that was based in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and operated by its parent company, HHG Corporation. The promotion was founded in early 1992, by a man named Todd Gordon, who was an American businessman who used to be the president of the Carver W. Reed Company Incorporated. It used to be a had to be a jewelry store and loan office that was in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, that was later established in the 1860s. That's why the company was so defunct. As National Wrestling Alliance, that company was still around in its affiliate, Eastern Championship Wrestling. The following year, businessman and wrestling manager Paul Heyman. See, Paul Heyman had a falling out with WCW. Okay, he felt that WCW fucked him over. You know what I'm saying? On some contract disputes. Him and Bill Watts, he got into it. You know, he ended up beefing with Eric Bischoff. All of a sudden, argue with him. He wanted to get out of WCW because he wanted to. I think it was 1993. He wanted to get the fuck up out of WCW because he wanted to step away so he can start, working for a wrestling company that was owned by a businessman who used to be a president of a jewelry store and loan office, who happens to be a founder and owner, a founder of the Eastern Championship Wrestling uh, company, who was running the HHG Corporation. So So you got the early videos they have of Paul Heyman and likes of Flyboy Rocco Rock and Johnny Grunge. They yelling under their breaths. They he was so pissed that he wanted to take down WCW apart. He done nothing else to stop and nothing to take them down for some reason. That's how Paul Heyman took over the creative end of the promotion from a guy that he was that Heyman was friends with, the late Eddie Gilbert, hot stuff Eddie Gilbert, yeah, hot stuff Eddie Gilbert, who had be Thomas Edward Gilbert Jr. was still rest in peace. Cause he was friends with Paul Heyman. You know what I'm saying? Even though because Eddie and Todd had a falling out. He had fallen out because of everything else. Because Paul wanted to help Eddie because Eddie used to be a booker and a matchmaker. So Eddie Gilbert was leaving. So, but under Heyman, the promotion was already rechristened as Extreme Championship Wrestling. See, from 1992 to 1994, they want they wanted to change things. Let me explain this here. 1982, they had matches there. Terry Funk, rest in peace, came in. 1993, Paul Heyman got the job as an executive producer and talent coordinator for the Eastern Championship Wrestling brand. This was on I think he did that by at least he got the job at least September 18th, 1993. By the time Ultra Clash, not Ultra Clash, I think it was something else. I gotta find out about ECW Ultra Clash. Let me find out. But until 1994, it was an NWA ECW title tournament. It was 95, I think. 94 maybe. Uh, they have something that they wanted to be seen before. You have Flyboy and Johnny Grunge versus Mick Foley, who was a wrestling legend. Yeah, Michael Foley, who was a wrestling legend, who was known as the Cactus Jack character. He teams up with Mikey Whipwreck, who was he comes out there wearing bandanas and things like that, has tights on and everything. You know, they're teaming up against the Public Enemy. No offense to the rap group, just a wrestling tag team that was named after a rap group, Public Enemy. So Mikey pinned I think it was Flyboy or Johnny to win the ECW tag belts, and they won. The referee raised the hands of Mikey and Cactus and declaring them as winners. And they went to the back. Mick was telling Mikey that I think the Public Enemy is mad at you. And Mikey says, I think we're gonna die. And Mick says he likes it. Mikey really likes it. Mikey had took the best beatings that he ever took. He had the best beatings that he ever took. For some reason he did. until the fans come out there, he exploded. And if you came out, the fans they exploded. Nobody else even know why. But let me get you to the Ultra Clash pay-per-view here. See, this is from September of '93. There's ECW Ultra Clash, 1993 here. It took place. It took place in September 18th, 1993, when Paul Heyman was executive producer and town coordinator and the booker. And other things about the company, they had the tournament. It started with Shane Douglas versus Too Cold Scorpio. Let's find another one. Let me find this one. The night the line was crossed. This right here is early 1994. This is from Copilot. The night the line was crossed was a pivotal ECW event on February February the 5th, 1994. We'll show you in the picture here. This here is the picture of this is a picture of this building here that was located on it was in the corner of Rittner and Swanson Street in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. See, the ECW pay-per-view was already been held. It was marking a significant moment in the promotion's history as it embraced a more extreme wrestling style. This was in the draw. See, Terry Funk defended the ECW Heavyweight Championship against Shane Douglas and Sabu in a three-way dance that ended in a time limit draw. Oh, I forgot. Right here, we'll show you here is this is what happened there. See, this is like ECW NWA title tournament. Here's the title tournament. They'll show you through the card here. This is from August 27th, 1994. We'll take you to ring history. This is a picture of Too Cold Scorpio. It's a picture of Too Cold Scorpio shaking hands with Shane Douglas before they get to wrestle. This Shane Douglas and Tasmaniac got involved in this match between Bill's happened with Tasmaniac. So we got this one. What is it at? See this right here. I was trying to tell you guys about this here. This is where Cactus Jack, that's Mick Foley, that's Mikey Whipwreck. They defeated the Public Enemy, Grunge and Flyboy, Rocco Rock. yeah, Johnny Grunge and Rocco Rock by pinfall. When Cactus Jack told Mikey Whip right backstage, like he said that the Public Enemy is going to be mad at Mikey, and Mikey said he thinks he's going to die or something. But Mick already told the viewers that he likes it. Mikey really likes it. So there's this match here, a tournament final for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. Shane Douglas defeated Too Cold Scorpio by pinfall. But there's a post-match speech right here when Shane Douglas mentioned about the Ric Flairs, the Holy Races, the Barry Windhams, and all that. He had been saying all this, and people like because he telling them all to kiss his ass and all that. Then all of a sudden, what he did, this is what he did here. He threw down the NWA World Title belt across the ring, and Joey Styles, who had to be Joey Bonsignor, who was a former news reporter. He says, "What the hell is he doing?" And this is what the act was just not just a statement, it was just a declaration of ECW's identity and its departure from the traditional wrestling norms. So, so he was saying, Douglas had been saying this like he was not the man who had accepted the torch that was handed down to him from an organization that died, RIP, 7 years ago. But he wanted to start the thing off, to change the face of professional wrestling. And then he already found something. See, you see Todd Gordon sitting down with Nicholas Coruso, who was a part of the NWA board. And Coruso said like like Douglas is pissing on the belt. Some shit. Some shit he started telling him. See, it has the reception of the legacy of that title, so that's what y'all have. So, so when Douglas grabbed the title, which was the Eastern Championship Wrestling World Heavyweight Wrestling title. This is what he said go pick. But Douglas is declaring himself the ECW World Heavyweight Champion, which was mentioned by which was said by Joey Styles. He's like yelling about the Douglas is howling about it's the end of an era, and yelling about a new era begins, and he welcomes to the era of the ECW. And that's which what he did. He dropped the microphone. He was all teared up. He he just dropped the microphone. He dropped the microphone, and then Two Cold Scorpio ran out to the ring and picked up the NWA World Heavyweight Championship belt that Douglas had threw down. So Two Cold Scorpio had to go bring that NWA World Title belt back to It wasn't Nick Coraluzzo. It was Dennis Coraluzzo. I got the names mixed up. It was Dennis Coraluzzo. He's handed the belt to Dennis Coraluzzo, the guy who sits right next to Todd Gordon. Scorpio handed the belt to Coraluzzo, so Coraluzzo can take it with him. So then you have Coraluzzo talking to the reporters. Shane Douglas was the NWA World Heavyweight Champion. He threw the belt down. He has no right to be. He has no right to do that. So this makes something like the fallout happen. So it made ECW even stronger. And then Todd Gordon said that he's gonna unfold NWA Eastern Championship Wrestling, which was which was now which was already become you know turned into ECW Extreme Championship Wrestling, and he will find out he will be declaring Shane Douglas as their World Heavyweight Champion. So this is from August of '94. So this is right the end. It's from ring history. WCW had matches and things like that. So 1992, 1993, 1994. ECW had matches around 1993, 1994. They had pay-per-views from 1992 to like 2001. It has a history. That's all been shown from there. It's wrestling. It does what they do. It does what they have said they wanted to do. That's just something that they wanted to find out. Because and Jim Cornette, he was so against the hardcore wrestling aspect of the promotion. So 1995, that's where you had wrestling matches there on WCW Nitro there. Uh, you have matches on in like 96, they had one in Nitro, on 97, 98. That's where WCW Thunder came. Well, 1998, 1999, 1999, 2000. So then 2001, about 2000, 2001, that show's gotta be canceled. WCW Saturday Night, that show will be canceled. And WCW Nitro, that show will be next. It'll be gone by at least March 26, 2001. Even though it's gonna be canceled from within, and then it got purchased by the WWE. But now WCW has own YouTube channel, so then ECW has its own YouTube channel as well. That's what they got. They got a mix of what you see there with Smoky Mountain Wrestling, has story. Then you go to 1994, New Jack, rest in peace. He he already gets he has cut this promo about he cut a promo about O.J. Simpson. The networks are not happy. Network is not happy about what New Jack said about O.J. Simpson. Give a shout out, which that the network hated it. But until 1994, on a show, New Jack comes out with Mustafa Saeed and D'Lo Brown over there. So Jim Ross had to interview him and Mustafa and D'Lo. New Jack already had on a jacket that says OG on it, but New Jack might be listening to an Ice T record. I don't even know. New Jack wanted to be an OG in his own right. Ice T, he's like the realest OG that ever else have seen in on the mic. It stands for original gangster. It doesn't even stand for organized general. So he talked about the NAACP and all that and calling them sellouts and all that type of shit. He said the hell with all of them and all this type of shit. He told the NAACP sellouts, tell him to kiss his ass, kiss his black ass or some shit. And he said how he felt. But, but tragically, New Jack, whose real name was Jerome Young, he passed away on May of 2021. He died of a heart attack. He was in his 50s. He was in his 50s when he passed away, but you know, but he's in his six. He's in his 60s. He's in his 60s now. So rest in peace, Jerome New Jack Young, born in 1963, died in 2021. So there's that one wrestler I forgot to memorialize. Well, in memoriam of. On my way, man. Out on my way. Let me go type his date of birth. Let me go type his date of birth for a minute. We'll take you to some images of New Jack from there. We'll take you to some images that they have of him from 1994 when he had to be in Smoky Mountain wrestling when James Ross had interviewed him. We find that still photo they have of New Jack when he was being interviewed by James Ross. Where's that interview? Where the fuck is that interview that JR had with New Jack in Smoky Mountain? Where is it? Just a photo of New Jack wearing a Tupac T-shirt. That's just New Jack. That's just New Jack wearing a Tupac T-shirt. Not New Jack City. I'm looking for an old interview they have of New Jack in 1994 when he got interviewed by JR. Where is it? The fuck is it, man? Shit. Where the fuck is that? Where the fuck is the interview at? God damn. Can't find jack shit. Shit. Can't go to YouTube. See, it's a cage match thing. This is where Bob Caldo had interviewed New Jack. He said Bob Caldo was resting in peace still. He's been deceased. Uh, Legendary announcer. He says, "Ladies and gentlemen, here we are. We get our first opportunity to talk to them. The new tag team on the block in Smoky Mountain Wrestling. Impressive they are. The Gangstas. New Jack. New Jack says, let me tell you something. 30 years ago, we would have been strung up in somebody's tree, getting hung for beating two white boys the way we just did. But now you might want to come out here and put some belts on us. But the only belts we're going to be wearing about here is the tag team belts. Let me tell you something. I don't like being up here. I was getting out my car. I slipped and fell some tobacco spit. And you know what I'm saying? Nothing but rednecks up here. Nothing but geeks up here. Nothing but coal miners up here. Chicken farmers, clansmen. I don't like nobody but my partner. You understand? I don't care who you line up in front of me. I'm gonna show you how bad New Jack and Mustafa is. You want to talk about violence? Violence to you might be putting somebody in a figure four. Violence to me is taking a can of gas and pouring it on you and setting you on fire. Like me or not, I didn't come up here to be liked. I came up here to get paid, and whoever you put in front of me, I'm gonna chop you down. I would like to send a special shout out to my homeboy OJ Simpson. Keep up the good work, baby. Two less we got to worry about. You understand? Keep up the good work. Louis Farrakhan would be the next president. Snoop Dogg, we know you're innocent. You called me last night. You understand? Get ready. Smoky Mountain, because we're gonna set this place on fire. And then Bob Caudle said, all right, friends, there they are. The team to be heard from Smoky Mountain Wrestling. New Jack, Mustafa Saeed, the Gangsters. We'll be right back. R.I.P. to Bob Caudle, bro. R.I.P. to Bob fucking Caudle, man. Shit. Damn. Bob Caudle was the guy who did the announcing, man, but I miss him. He's one that did the announcing. Yeah, Dietrich Davis. Yeah, Dietrich Davis is talking about New Jack in the video that he did. Yeah, he mentioned about what New Jack said about Devon, man. Yeah, the black man, the white man's body. Yeah, but in ECW, man, they had some memories. You know what I'm saying? From 1992, 1993, 1994, 1995. 1995, they go start running some bigger towns, and there was around New York, probably New Jersey, uh, Baltimore, and other states. They just go run shows there. It goes anywhere but Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. So they used to start doing shows. I think it was around probably Maryland, New York, uh, probably New Jersey. They used to do shows there, doing live. So WCW used to do those live shows too when they had to go to other states. Right until they fell into some sort of bankruptcy. They're out of business because they were losing money. They had some sort of financial problems and they're looking for help. And then Eric Bischoff was the is an executive producer for WCW, and then later he became uh, a president of WCW. But he doesn't want to be a president of a company that was losing millions of dollars per year. He wanted to you know he wanted to get to make the company more profitable and make it more bigger than what it expected to be. And then fans were saying that he pissed away everybody's money. It was Eric was like bullshit. I make money. He said he makes money hand over fist and get the money to make it more profitable and get the check signed to the wrestlers that already wrestle, and so they can go home to their families, to pay their bills and feed their families and all that. So it's the only thing they would do. I mean, the company was making money, but they ain't making money no more until 2000 and 2001. The company was already out of business. ECW, they're going through the financial shit. They're going through the mismanagement shit there. The mismanagement problems. They went in 2000. They were going. I mean, this is what happens. They had to go take their shows all the way to Illinois and in Florida. The ECW had to take their shows to Illinois, Florida, Maryland, New York, New Jersey. They take the shows all the way to like California. They took the show all the way to California. It was in 2000. It was called the ECW Heatwave. They had the matches that was on that card. And then you have these XPW guys and gals showing up in the crowd. You ain't got Francine coming out there. You ain't got Francine come out there in the ring to go speak her speeches out. And then you got these XPW guys and Robert Black, who was the owner of XPW. They showed up out the ass, and they got all the dudes that come out there, and you got the ring people, the ring crew. They come out there mixing up with the ECW. They come out there fucking with the ECW guys. ECW was in a feud. They're feuding with WCW and WWE periodically. But look what happened when you had 1997 came in. WWE Raw was already live in February the 24th of 1997. They had to go do a show. Then you got the ECW guys coming out there, getting ready to storm the place in New York. You got John Nicholas Cronus and Perry Saturn. They come out there, and they grab this poor schmuck and they double teamed him in the ring. And then Paul Heyman was yelling, uh, your charge has been accepted. And he says ECW is in the house. Yelling it out of his breath says ECW is in the house. This, that, and other. That's all he started by yelling, screaming under his breath. Y'all about some your challenge has been accepted. And he said ECW is in the house. I couldn't do a huge scream. I don't want to scare anybody. But this is bad. The thing with ECW, bro, like, come on, man. Why would you do an invasion and a co-promotion, even though in Jerry Lawler, the rapist that he is, he ends up finding out that Vince McMahon was allowing Paul Heyman to go plug a pay-per-view on WWE television. He then Vince approved of it, but Vince approved of it. Jerry would never be able to know because they got this little debate going on. And Jim Ross, he wasn't even supportive of ECW, no way. So some shit that never happened on television, but after what happened in 1996 when New Jack and Mustafa, it was the tag team they had against Devon Dudley, and it was Brian Knighton who had to be Axel Rotten. Rotten could not be able to make it in Revere, Massachusetts, because he had some other family matters to take care of. It was involving his sweet, adorable grandmama. So he had to go home and tend to his grandma. He had a little family matter. So somebody is filling in for him. It was a man named Eric Kulas, who happened to be uh he's out there with some yeah, there was some midget guy. Yeah, there was some midget, some little ass midget there. Little guy, the little midget, the pint sized wrestler. That came out with him. He comes out with some sort of a tryout tape in his hand. And there's some stuff goes on that he lied about his age. Shit. He said he was in his teens. He had like he was a teenager. Yeah, it was like he lied about his age. Uh, he comes out there dressing up as a Massachusetts transit cop. He wears a Massachusetts transit police uniform. He comes out there. The kid comes out there dressed up as a Massachusetts transit police officer. He comes out there to team up with Devon Hughes, who happened to be Devon Dudley. So Kulas wanted New Jack to do what he wanted to do with him, which give him color or whatever, like cut him or something. So he cut him. So New Jack wanted to cut this man's forehead. Called him up like some Thanksgiving turkey that needed to be carved and cut. Thanksgiving turkey. It carved him up and cut him up like it was Thanksgiving turkey. Now he's bleeding. Now the guy's bleeding from his forehead, and all of a sudden they're about to go drag Kulas out of the arena. New Jack was like, before Kulas before Kulas was dragged out of the arena. And New Jack said that I don't. Yeah, it's like something about the shit that he's saying that like I said in a controversial perspective. Hope that fat piece of shit bleeds to fucking death because I don't give a fuck. It's New Jack's own words in the ring. He said that in a show the ECW had did in Revere, Massachusetts. He says, "I hope that fat piece of shit bleeds to fucking death because I don't give a fuck." Now that's what he said. That's what he said in the arena in Revere. But New Jack, he am squared after the show was off the air. Then Eric Kulas, his family, Mass Transit's family, they're ready to go press some charges. They about to go file charges and pressing some charges. New Jack, he dashed and ran the fuck away. So shit happens every time. But 1997, 1998, 1999, this happened with New Jack, so he was all the shit that went down. So that's how ECW went out of business in March March the 4th of 2001. Let me find out. Let me go back to the ECW thing. It says March 4th or March 5th. Let me see. Oh, oh, fuck off, L.A. Times and Chuck Taylor. Fuck off. This is what they're telling me. Shit. See, this is where ECW was already happening. So the company was already gone. It was out of business in like I think it was around April of 2001. See, ECW closed in April of 2001 after WCW had closed in March of 2001. Now I gotta hunt down. I gotta go search for WCW now. Yep, yep. March the 31st, 2001. That's why that company was out of business. The last WCW Nitro was out on March the 26th, 2001. The company was out of business March the 31st, 2001. Those talks of Crash TV, who knows? Who knows? Yeah, this is where they're going, bro. That's where the wrestlers are going. That's all the WCW wrestlers are going to. They're going to Carlos Colon, not Carlos Colon. They went to World Wrestling All Stars, and then they sent them straight to XWF, and then they sent them straight to that's where all the other WCW wrestlers have been moved to. They moved to other companies like WWAS, WWA, and there's XWF, there's TNA, and there's ROH. Those places like they take other places. Other guys might be get sent to companies like World Wrestling All Stars, X Wrestling Federation. There's Total Nonstop Action Wrestling. There's Total Nonstop Action Wrestling. And then there's Ring of Honor. And then there's Ring of Honor. There's few of the wrestlers you see on television are already at the WWE. Stupid fucking piece of shit. What the fuck is wrong with my shit? See, it's crying a bitch. I hate this fucking speaker. I'm plugging up this motherfucker, man. I also hate this speaker, bro. I'm gonna just not use the speaker anymore. Fuck the speaker. See, they got all the guys I've seen on WWE television. So we got Rey Mysterio. He was on WWE television. I don't know about Psychosis, Hobitu, Guerrero. They already been going to the Indies anyway. Ultimo Dragon, he was going to be in the Indies. So Chris Jericho, he was about to come back to WWE. Eddie Guerrero, he's deceased. Chris Benoit, he's deceased. Dean Malenko, he's going to end up working some places. I would say fuck this piece of shit ass thing. This thing crying the ass. I hate this thing. Let's go plug it up. Somebody will plug this bitch somewhere. It got plugged over to the tone port. Let me go plug it up the top, man. Here. Why say I act like a pussy, man? I'm so real sick of this fucking speaker. Somebody was giving me another fucking speaker. Fuck. The speaker's acting like shit. I'll just recharge this stupid fucking speaker. Those guys are already in Mexico, so. Fuck, man. They're not doing anything for me. Let me see what the fuck is wrong with this stupid speaker.
The Bluetooth device is ready to pair. Radio auxiliary input mode.
Yeah, this speaker needs to. Let me get rid of stupid speaker. Piece of shit's crying for fucking charge. Should I get this? I'm gonna get some. I might just get some wired fucking speakers because this speaker's fucking garbage. I'm crying for a charge, fucking pussies. I'm gonna use something else. Some of the speaker, bro. Suck a dick speakers, man. Oh, no, I'm just glad you use another speaker. Yeah, this thing acting stupid. I don't know what's up with the speaker. Super Juniors. Yeah, these guys are out there. Oh, they talk about the NWO. This is what Eric Bischoff was talking about. He says this about the cruiserweight division. He said that the talent. He said something about the cruiserweight division. Like he said this in 2020. Like I think the cruiserweight division and the talent represented therein probably has much to do with the success of Nitro as the NWO storyline and Hulk Hogan, rest in peace, Scott Hall, rest in peace, and Kevin Nash, who was still alive. I don't think people recognize it. The talent in that division not only helped Nitro consistently consistently defeat WWE, that talent forced WWE, that's what he says, that talent forced WWE as much as the NWO to change the way they were presenting the product. So that's all goes in. So you got wrestlers already been sent to WWA, ROH, and TNA. So he got sent there. And XWF, that company was gone. But WWE already wanted to sign Chris Jericho back to the company. But WWE been wanting to get him back. Uh, you know what I mean? Desperately because they're ready to end the pettiness and the nepo baby bullshit. That's what they want to put it into. Rey Mysterio, everybody else already knew what's going on with Rey Mysterio. But last night he was in the ring, so he did what he do. Because wrestling might be something that he wanted to do. The company already had its ups and downs, so we can't get nothing out of people because of what they have known to do. All right, I'm about to go finish this here. I had to go switch these USBs, but this USB wire is acting a little stupid. So let me go check its temperature, see if it's working, so it won't act stupid. All right, I won't be using this anymore. I might as well use the other USB cord that was from my old PS4. Use that and from hook it from the speaker all the way to the USB jack thing on the back of this PC here. So both companies that were already been out of business, like ECW, like WCW and ECW, they've been put out of business since late March and early April of 2001. So those companies were out of business. So you know, we'll bring this show to a piece. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, go on. Let me turn this off then. All right, all right. See this live stream here is dedicated. It's dedicated into the memoriam of a professional wrestler that I have known and respect ever since I started watching wrestling. Jerome New Jack Young, born in January the 3rd, 1963, and died on May the 14th, 2021. Rest in peace, Jerome Young, aka New Jack.